NIVI calculates your emissions in 3 scopes according to the Greenhouse Gas Protocol. In this video, we want to explore how you can add Scope 1 emissions in NIVI. Scope 1 describes all direct emissions that result from the burning of, for example, fuel in one of your company's operations. This could be fuel for vehicles owned or controlled by your company, generators or production processes that directly emit greenhouse gases, such as the processing of chemicals. Fugitive emissions, which can result from intentional or unintentional releases such as equipment leaks or emissions from the use of refrigeration equipment, are also part of Scope 1 emissions. To add your Scope 1 emissions into the sites and off-site equipment, navigate to the Scope 1 tab. Here you can select either site emissions or off-site equipment. We will start by looking at site emissions. When you click on site emissions, the top right of the screen will show the site currently selected, and you can change the site if necessary. Below, you can choose between different emission sources. Once you have selected the emission source, you can specify the type and enter the quantity and add the data. Once you have added the emission, it will appear in the table below. In this section, you can also add biologically sequestered carbon, which are emissions from burning biomass such as wood. These emissions are reported outside the scopes, but are placed in the site emissions on NIVI, as they usually occur in the same context. If you know the emissions from biologically sequestered carbon, you can include them here. Now we want to look at off-site facilities by going back to Scope 1 and clicking on the Off-site Equipment tile. If you already created an off-site equipment in your legal entity, you find it here and can insert emission data by clicking on it. If you haven't added the off-site equipment before, you can do it here by inserting the equipment name and control share. The process to fill in emission data in off-site equipment is the same as for on-site activities. You can again choose the emission source and type and enter the quantity. Once you have added your Scope 1 emissions data, you can view it in the dashboard. Click on Dashboard in the menu on the left side of the page and navigate to the Scope 1 tab in the top menu. Here you can see your Scope 1 emissions by emission source and top emitters. You can also see your biologically sequestered carbon.